the Sci-Fi Invasion. I'm your host, Joey Hollywood, and I'm trying to get through all 50 movies in this 50 movie box set from Mill Creek in 50 weeks. The movie I watched today was called Prehistoric Women from 1950. Hi, Quentin. Yeah? You okay? Not sure if you heard it, he just started crying. You okay, buddy? Yeah, Quentin didn't like the Prehistoric Women. Just to let you know, he hated it. I was not a fan of it, but I also didn't hate it. Prehistoric Women is another caveman movie. We watched one last week, The Wild Women of Wongo. And The Wild Women of Wongo had more going on in it. It has definitely more weird stuff in it, with the weird sexist message and the message of segregation and stuff. This one, it's odd because there's always something happening in the movie, so it never feels like boring in that sense because there's always something going on. But the whole movie's done in narration, and the narrator is just describing to you what you're seeing most of the movie. You'll see a caveman like grab a rope and then Tarzan over flames, and while that's happening, the narrator is telling you what you were seeing. And that's really, really frustrating while watching a movie. But I can't say I was particularly bored watching the movie, so I guess that's a positive I can say about it. But it definitely was lacking somewhat. The plot of this movie is one of the women of this tribe bludgeons the leader of the tribe, a man, and in fear of retaliation, the women take the children and run. And 9 years later, the eldest woman of the tribe says that they have to get husbands before the next full moon. So the women go out and they club a bunch of men and try to abduct them. Now there's also a rogue caveman who's allegedly 9 feet tall. I think he's a tall man, but I don't think he's 9 feet. And he's the main antagonist of the movie, and it's through thwarting him that the women of the previous tribe come together with the men of this other tribe that they kidnapped. And there's a line in it that says the women of the whatever tribe come to terms with the men not by the end of the spear but by romance or something like that. Something like forcefully poetic. And I can't bring myself to say I think this is a bad movie because I think what it set out to do, it accomplished. So I can't really call it a bad movie in that sense. I just don't think it was a very entertaining movie. There are some fun things in it. There's a scene where the giant, the 9-foot caveman, he goes to step on someone's head, but he steps on a rock. And there was a fun little in-camera effect where he steps on the rock and the rock gets pushed into the dirt. And it's very obvious how they did that. There was just a hole underneath the rock and he pushed the rock into the hole. But it was a fun and effective looking thing. It's just the whole movie, the narration, it just did not land with me. This is definitely a movie that needs a commentary track. There's part of me that wants to say it's slow, but I didn't necessarily think it was slow. I felt like I should say that, but it went by pretty fast. It was short. Things were always happening, but the movie just fell off. I wasn't enjoying it, and I don't think it's because I just watched like 41 or 40. What number are we on? And I don't think it's because we just watched 42 movies. I don't think it's because this is the 42nd film. I think this movie just wasn't for me. I'm not a big fan of caveman movies. There's a handful I kind of like. The movie felt like it didn't need to exist, is the thing. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's kind of one of those things. I think it hits all the markers that you want to hit with a caveman movie. They discover fire. There's like the weird romance element to it, and there's a handful of action scenes. There's tigers. There's a rhino, I think, at one point, and I think my favorite line of the movie. And it sticks out in my mind because it was like, the movie's not really all that funny, but this was a funny line. It says, "The swan dive was invented before the swan." And I was like, okay, movie. We'll just go with that. The swan dive was invented before the swan. Cool. All right. But, yeah, that's it for now. I hope to see you next week. I think we actually have some sci-fi movies next week. I guess this technically is a sci-fi movie because I think caveman movies technically fall into science fiction through like a loophole. So I'm not going to give it the rant about that with like I did with the Hercules movies, because those Hercules movies did not belong on something called sci-fi. But I'll give this one a pass in that regard. But yeah, I don't know. Just wasn't for me, I guess. But yeah, I'll see you next time. You guys can't see this, but Quentin is so starved for attention. He is just like biting me every time I'm not petting him. I'm not even sure if you can hear him purring. He's purring so loud. Before I sign off, I'll let Quentin be in the frame because he just wants to be in the video so bad. Hi, Quentin. Look at that. Well, that's it for now. I'll see you all next week. Thank you for watching. Remember, please be kind and rewind.